Congratulations! You have finally found the best tutorial about the reduce function on the internet. So, reducing the time consumption, let's dive right in. What's up everyone, TCH here, and in this video I want to make you fall in love with the reduce function in Python. So let me just start by importing a bunch of stuff. So I want to import IPynb. What is it? Interactive Python notebook. Why am I importing it? Well, so that I can import stuff from a name tuple. What is name tuple? Well, name tuple is another IPynb or interactive Python notebook that I have in the same directory, inside which there is a variable called as languages that I just want to import, and then I'm just importing pprint. Cool. On printing my languages, this is what I get. So there is a six. So there are actually 6 languages: Python, JavaScript, Java, Golang, C++, and Brainfuck. So that's it, right? Now the question for this video is pretty simple. It says to classify the languages based on their level. So we'll have 3 columns: easy, intermediate, and hard. That's it. Pretty simple, right? So out of these 3 columns, we need to classify all of the languages inside them. So we'll be creating a hash table or a dictionary if you would like. So to import the reduce, we need to first of all import the reduce from the func tool. So reduce is not readily available to you, so you need to import it from the func tools. After you have after you have imported your reduce, well, let me just tell you that reduce takes 3 parameters at most. What are those parameters? Well, it's the first, second, and third parameter, out of which the third is optional. Okay, enough of joke. What are those actual 3 parameters? Well, these are function and iterable, like most of the things that we have talked till now in functional programming, as well as there's one more thing called as initializer. Now I know this can get a little more confusing, so I won't be teaching out here. Let me just nowhere out here as well. So let me just come in here. Okay, cool. So I'm right there saying pprint all of my languages. Pretty cool. So the reason why I'm saying this is because so that you can just see that, hey, this guy has really imported everything that they should have. Okay, so well, first of all, let me just show you a very simple program to calculate the sum of the languages. To calculate the sum of every element inside a list. So that's a number, right? So I can just define a lambda function. If you don't know it, well, you can just learn it from somewhere. So I can just say lambda, and this takes x and y. Why x and y and why just not x? I'll just tell you in a while, don't worry. And what do I want to do? Well, sum those up. Whoa, what am I doing? Okay, don't worry, I'll just explain to you in a little while. And the list that I want to explain is 1 2 3 4 and 5. Cool. So let me just pass this list, and this is the function's value that we get, that is 15, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. Pretty simple. How does this work? Well, let me just tell you how does this work. It gives, first of all, it checks whether do I have an initializer or not. If it has an initializer, then it passes the initializer and the first value of that iterable. So in that case it's 1. If there is nothing, then it will pass the first 2 values of my iterable. So what does my x and y are? Well, it is my 1 and 2. It calculates 1 and 2, returns 1 and 2, that is 3, and then with that output passes the next element, that was my 3. So it takes my 3, that was my output, and then combines with another 3, then adds them. What is 3 plus 3 is 6, then it adds 6 plus 4, takes that, it's 10, and then with 10 plus 5 it's 15 finally. Okay, so what if I have an initializer something like 10? That means initialize my sum not at 0 but at 10. So what will this do? Pretty simply, it will increase my sum to be 25. Okay, this can get a little confusing, so let me just write a function to show you this. Well, I can just have a function called as let's say list sum, something like that, inside which I'll be taking my x and y values. Okay, and just for a while let me just print out my x and y so that I can show you what actually is happening. And I can just have a reduce out here, and I can say list sum, and inside my list sum, pretty simple, well, I can just pass out my list, right? So it's 1 2 3 4 and 5, and let's see what happens actually. So what do I get? Well, pretty interesting, right? So it says 1 2, none 3, none 4, and none 5. Okay, that's cool. Well, what does it do? It goes and passes, first of all it checks whether do I have an initializer. I don't have an initializer, so it gives me, so the values of x and y are 1 and 2 because those are the first 2 elements from the list. So it gives that, prints it out, expects to return, or rather expects to get something in return. I don't do anything to return it, so it just returns none. So the next time, what is my value? Well, that is my previously returned value, that is none, and my next value, that is 3. It goes there, prints them out, and then again nothing. So none 4, none 5. This will become really clear when I just return a value something like this is returned value. How the spellings are correct? Yeah. So what will it say? 1, 2, this is a return value 3, this is a return value 4, this is a return value 5, and finally it gives me as an output this is a return value, because that is the output that it gets. So what if I want to find the sum? It's pretty simple, right? All that I need to do is, well, first of all, I'll be just printing out xy, and what I can just do is return x plus y, and once I do that, my output that I will be getting should be nothing but 15, right? So what I'll be getting is 15, but there's something interesting right here. First of all, it passes 1 and 2, calculates a sum that is 3, with 3 calculates a sum that is 6, and then with 4 calculates a sum that is 10 plus 5, and finally gives me 15. Pretty simple. Now what if I'm initializing it at 10? Let's just see what does that do. Well, nothing but that just gives me 10 first of all. So it gives 10 1, 11, 11 2, 13, 13 3, 16, 16 4, 20, 25, 20 plus 5, 25. Simple, right? So that is how it is working. That means it passes like one by one each and every number to my list, then it does something with it, or rather whatever my function does with it, expects a returned value, and then does something with the returned value and my next the number. So that is how I'm working with it. Okay, now how will I use this? I mean that you can very easily write a simple program to calculate the sum, or maybe you can just say sum and the list. So that's fine. But then this is like, I just want to create a very simple program that can classify all the languages based on the level. How am I going to do that? Well, let me just do it in this way. What I'll say is def, I can say sort languages, yeah, and what I'll take is an x and a y. Okay, that's cool. Inside this, what I can say is well, I know that my x will nothing be an initializer, so I'll be initializing it with a dictionary. So I can say well, x, and I will be taking the y dot level, and I can just say it to be y dot name. And actually, what do I want to return out of it? Well, I just want to return my x, right? So return, return out my x. So instead of this, well, I need to pass out this, and instead of this iterable, I'll be passing out my languages, if I could get it right. So I can just copy this one from here. I'm very lazy. So this, and okay, now is the main part. Okay, so what I say is, well, have something called as easy. What is easy? Nothing but an empty list. What is intermediate? Again, nothing but an empty list. And what is hard? Nothing but again an empty list. Running this, what will happen? Amazingly, easy JavaScript, intermediate C++, hard brainfuck. Okay, I mean that worked, but just kind of. You know why? Because I was actually replacing the value. So what I need to do is I need to say append, and I just need to append this value, that is my y dot name. Yeah, so I can just say take out this, control X, paste it inside, and this should work pretty fine. So easy Python JavaScript, intermediate Golang C++, hard this. Now you might be like, oh, that's amazing. Wait a second, the video is still not over. I want to show you something that is called as, it's called as a default dict. What is a default dict? I mean that it is really easy. Like in my program, it is capitalized at easy, right? So very easily I can just make an error here by saying it small e, and then it will just throw me an error saying this key is not found, right? So how can I solve this sort of an error? in such a situation, what we use is called as a default dict. What is a default dict? It creates a key whenever it's not available, and it sets it equal to something that we define inside it. Okay, now that is of course not available to you, so you need to say from collections import default dict. So you need to import default dict. Pretty cool. Now what you can say is default dict, inside which if you passed a list, what does that do? It initial collection. Okay, so that's collections, my bad, that worked. Okay, so what does a default dict do? Well, a default dict first of all checks whether do I have this key. In case not, creates that dict, or rather creates that key, and sets it equal to whatever I am saying inside it. So if I would have set it to be an int, so it would have set it to be 0 or something like that. So let me just show it to you. Actually, if I just say str, what I'll get is a default dict in which I'll be getting an error saying that is not available. So actually what I can say is append, instead of append I can just to say this, and I should be done, right? So that will, so yeah, see, easy JavaScript, hard this and this. So like that is what my function was doing previously. Back here and back to my list. So that is the reason why we might use a default dict, because it's really handy, and it will make sure that you don't make any sort of a mistake. So this was the last video that I wanted to cover about the functional programming in this. So if there is something that you think I should have covered in my functional programming and I have not, just let me know in the comment down below. Definitely the video will come out. Okay, and yeah, one more thing, I hope that everything else like the map and the filters were really clever and useful to you. In case not, don't worry, because you have list comprehension. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can do the list comprehension for this as well. Just go to my website and search for this. The link will be down in the description. So just search for this particular tutorial in the functional programming, or rather I guess there's this thing. Let me just search LEARN learning drop. So let me just search for learning drop. Well, I should be searching for learning drop, and yeah, you can just come in here and you can just go down, and of course like it should be in Python, so I just created this. Okay, so we have that in my Python available out here. So this is a deep into Python set. So if you go into the deep into Python set, there's this thing called as functional programming. You can just go into the functional programming and see every tutorial that is there. Okay, so with that said, I just want to wrap up this video, because well, we are already a lot into the video, I hope so. So this was all about this video. So thanks for watching, keep innovating, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Press the like button if you liked the video, dislike button if you didn't like it. So bye bye.